How does an innocent child transform into a notorious killer known as the Night Stalker? The question begs to be asked when we delve into the life of Richard Ramirez, the man behind the moniker. Born in El Paso, Texas in the late 1960s, Ramirez was the youngest of 5 children in a Mexican-American family. His childhood was far from idyllic. Exposed to toxic substances due to his mother's job at a boot factory and subjected to frequent physical abuse by his father, Ramirez's early years were marred by hardship. These experiences, while tragic, were not entirely unique in their capacity to breed adversity. However, it was the influence of another family member that would set young Richard on a path of malevolence. Enter Miguel, Ramirez's older cousin, a decorated Vietnam War veteran. Miguel was a charismatic figure, a war hero, who regaled young Richard with tales from the battlefield. But these were not stories of heroism or camaraderie. They were tales steeped in violence, gore, and the dehumanization of the enemy. Miguel showed Ramirez graphic photos of his exploits in Vietnam, images that would sear themselves into the impressionable mind of the young boy. This exposure to violence and gore at such a tender age was not without its effects. Ramirez began to display signs of deviant behavior. He took up petty theft, began experimenting with drugs, and started showing a disturbing interest in satanic rituals. His grades plummeted, his social interactions became strained, and he was expelled from school. But these were merely the early manifestations of a darkness that was taking root within him. It was as if Miguel had opened a Pandora's box, unleashing a sinister force that would consume Richard Ramirez, transforming him from a troubled child into a being capable of unspeakable atrocities. The stage was set, the seeds of monstrosity sown, and young Richard was on a path to become the Night Stalker. In the quiet of the Night Stalker commenced his reign of terror. Richard Ramirez, who would later earn the moniker the Night Stalker, was not born a killer. His journey into the abyss of criminality began with petty offences. Yet these minor transgressions were but a prelude to the atrocities that were to follow. Ramirez's criminal activities escalated alarmingly, transforming from petty theft into a horrifying series of burglaries, assaults, and finally murders. His victims were chosen at random, a factor that further heightened the terror. There was no clear pattern, no discernible thread that could be used to predict his next move or his next victim. The Night Stalker struck without warning, leaving a trail of fear in his wake. The brutality of his attacks was matched only by his unique modus operandi. Unlike most serial killers, Ramirez did not have a specific victim type. He targeted men, women, and children alike, with ages ranging from 6 to 82. His attacks were not driven by a specific motive or fetish, but by an insatiable need to inflict pain and terror. His method was as unpredictable as his choice of victims. Some were shot, others were stabbed, and a few were beaten to death. Regardless of the method, each attack was marked by an extreme level of violence that sent shockwaves through the community. And then there was his signature. After committing his crimes, Ramirez would often leave a pentagram, a symbol associated with satanic rituals, at the crime scene. This eerie ritual added an extra layer of horror to his crimes and further cemented his reputation as a monster. As the body count increased, so did the fear. The city was gripped by a sense of dread that was almost palpable. Every creak, every shadow, every unexpected sound became a potential harbinger of the Night Stalker. The city was gripped by fear. The Night Stalker had marked his territory. As fear gripped Los Angeles, the hunt for the Night Stalker intensified. Law enforcement agencies pooled their resources, casting a wide net over the city and beyond. Detectives tirelessly pursued leads, their determination fueled by a desperation to restore safety to their city. Key pieces of evidence slowly began to emerge, each one a breadcrumb leading closer to this elusive predator. The media played a pivotal role, amplifying the reach of the investigation. Newspapers and television broadcasts were awash with sketches and descriptions, making the Night Stalker's face known in every household. But it was ultimately the public's vigilance that proved critical. Ordinary citizens, emboldened by necessity, kept their eyes open and their spirits undeterred. Their collective bravery transformed the city into a net, tightening around the unknown terror. In a city paralyzed by fear, the people found their strength, leading to the Night Stalker's downfall. The Night Stalker was captured, but his impact lingered on. Richard Ramirez, the man known as the Night Stalker, was finally brought to justice. His trial was a sensational spectacle, capturing the public's attention like a gruesome car crash from which they couldn't look away. In the courtroom, Ramirez played the part of the villain to perfection. His chilling smile and defiant attitude sent shivers down the spine of anyone in his presence, while his heinous crimes were laid bare for all to see. The public's reaction was a mix of relief, fascination, and repulsion. Relief that the Night Stalker's reign of terror was over, fascination with the mind of a monster, and repulsion at the dark depths of human depravity. Behind bars, Ramirez lived a life far removed from the terror he had once inflicted upon the city of Los Angeles. He became a figure of morbid fascination, receiving fan mail and even marriage proposals from those drawn to his dark charisma. Yet, for his victims and their families, there was no escaping the shadow he had cast over their lives. The legacy of the Night Stalker is a complex web of fear, fascination, and a city forever changed. Los Angeles, once a city of dreams, had become a city of nightmares. The Night Stalker's crimes forced the city to confront its darkest fears, leaving a lasting impact that can still be felt to this day. Yet, amidst the darkness, there were glimmers of hope. The community banded together, refusing to be cowed by fear. The capture of the Night Stalker was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of pure evil, we have the power to fight back. The Night Stalker's reign of terror ended, but his legacy as one of America's most notorious serial killers remains etched in the annals of true crime history.